everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're MTC Training. We're an arm of the University of Sunderland, and we've operated across the region for nearly 40 years. We're currently delivering on this huge European Social Fund project, which is called North East Workforce Skills. It offers businesses and their employees access to a diverse selection of training. And today we're going to hear about two of our most popular courses. Firstly, we've got fingers on the buzzers for trainer Dion Cox, who's going to be getting into those known unknowns with his Excel quiz. Excel's a really common tool in terms of everyone uses it, from managing directors to new recruits. And what I've found since joining the team at MTC is there is just a whole world of things that I just didn't know that I could do on that. And this training is really popular, part of our funded offer through North East Workforce Skills. We'll then hear from Ian Rose, who's going to give us an introduction into the world of Microsoft Power BI and how data can be partitioned and analysed and understood and visualised and all those wonderful things. And it's been really, really interesting to see the uptake of organisations getting into the sort of data field certainly since I've been part of this organisation, and I think a lot of the reporting that was required during the pandemic may have played into that and moved us forward a good few years from where we would have been without. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Dion, who's going to run his Excel quiz.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Matt. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. If you wouldn't mind confirming when you can see it, please. Hopefully that should come through any second now. You can see it. Okay, great. Okay, so yeah, good morning to, welcome to the Excel quiz. This is just a quick little quiz, just a few questions. Like Matt was saying, we all use Excel, most of us on a daily basis. But how much do we really know about the tool that we use so extensively? So this is a quiz. I would like everybody to take part, please. Feel free to either well, it's probably easiest if you just put your messages in the chat box. So let's do it as quick as we can. There are about 10 questions to run through. And yeah, if we can just make it fun and just, have a little bit of fun with it. So first of all, question number 1. How many rows are in a normal Excel worksheet grid? So the number of rows. Who wants to have a guess? And even if you don't know the exact number, David, he said 1,440. Let's go higher, higher, higher. 1,000? No, definitely higher, higher. 24,000? Okay, well, I will put you out of your misery. It's quite a lot more than that, actually. It's actually 1 million, just over 1 million, 1,048,576. Okay, well, let's take that across the columns now. How many columns do you think there are in the worksheet grid? So let's have some quick guesses again. So the number of columns, 3,000. Gara, it's a little bit more than that, actually. We actually have just over 16,000 columns. Now, for those of you who are quick with a calculator or can do a quick mental calculation, how many cells does that actually mean that we have in a normal Excel grid? Well, this might surprise you. There are just over 17 billion cells. 18 million-ish, David? Yeah, a little bit, nearly 1,000 times more than that. A few zeros, yeah, for sure. Okay, great. So what type of chart is this? This is the one we commonly get wrong. What type of chart is this? Who wants to have a guess? Bar chart, line chart, bar chart being the most common one. Actually, this is not a bar chart. This is actually a column chart. A bar chart is actually the one that comes in horizontally. Column, it stands up like columns, for building. Now, sticking with the topic of charts, there's a handy little keyboard shortcut that will mean if I just click into my data, I can do a quick keyboard shortcut and I've got a chart. What is that keyboard shortcut? To get an instant chart. Who knows what it is? Any guesses? No, I'll assume you're not sure. Well, actually, Alt F1 is one of my favorite little shortcuts, this one, Alt F1. If your data is in the right format, just quick click into it, Alt F1 it, and you've got an instant chart. Now, sticking with keyboard shortcuts, there is a keyboard shortcut that means if I click into my data, I can do a quick little keyboard shortcut that will insert or remove filter arrows. As you can see, I'm toggling them on the screen there. Who knows what's a keyboard shortcut to insert or remove, toggle these filter arrows? Filter arrows obviously something that we use all the time. There's a handy little keyboard shortcut for that. Any guesses? Alt 1? Not quite Alt 1, Matt. It is actually Control, Shift, and L. And I know you're all going to be trying that one now. Control, Shift, L. Just click into your data and instant filter arrows. If you maybe just wanted to filter one column, you can select the column and Control, Shift, L it, and you'd literally have a filter just on that one column. Okay, next question. How can I enter something into all of these cells at once? So as you can see, I just type it once and I put it into all of them at once. What's the little tip that I can, or the little technique that I can use for that? Maybe you want to fill lots of blank cells with 0 or a word or something like that. Quick technique to, there isn't a formula, Matt. No, there's not a formula. Flash fill, flash fill could do it. It's not what I used here. This is even quicker than flash fill. So what you can do is you can type in what you want, make your selection as I've just done, type in what you want, and press Control and Enter. Control and Enter, and this works for formulas and functions as well. If you have a range of cells where you want to enter the same formula, but obviously with their respective columns or rows, then you just fill in the formula once and Control Enter it. It would put it into all of the cells in one go. Okay, next one. Slightly long question, but I'll explain it. There is a tool that allows us to work a function backwards. So in other words, we can start with an answer and let it change one of the variables that make up that answer. Now, for example, Excel has a function that can calculate monthly payments for us on a mortgage, say, or a loan. But what if I knew that I wanted to make some overpayments to the mortgage and I wanted to know how much quickly I could actually pay the mortgage off? What is the tool that will let me do that? You know, so in this case, as you can see, I've got a £100,000 mortgage at 4.5% a year, 300 months, which is 25 years, and it's going to cost me £555 a month. But what if I actually knew I had £600 in my pocket that I could put towards this mortgage? What is the quickest I could pay it off? What tool will do that for me? GoalSeek. Yes, absolutely, Callum. GoalSeek. Well done. So for those of you who's not familiar with GoalSeek, if I just go up to my data tab, go to What If Analysis and GoalSeek, and I can set my cell E15, in this case, the monthly payment, to say a value of 600. And what is it I want to check? What I want to change, the term. And as you can see, it will calculate. It will actually take me then 21, just shy of 22 years to pay it off. Excellent. Sarah, thank you for the tip there. You can view the slides in full screen view if you'd like. Yeah, if you'd like to, by clicking the 3 dots in the top right-hand corner of the screen, share screen, and then choose full screen. Excellent. Right. Now, next question. So question number 7. I have just over 60,000 rows in this data set. You can see just over 60,000 rows in this data set. What is the tool that will allow me to aggregate my data such as this? So as you can see, I've now got a grand total, or I can break it down by salespeople totals, or I can break it down by territory totals, maybe by product category totals, or look at my full data. Pivot, it's not a pivot table. No, it's not a pivot table. I think of this tool like a mini pivot table, not a pivot table. Any other guesses, anybody? Good guess there, pivot, because pivots, of course, would let us aggregate our data. This one, in fact, is the subtotal tool. If you've not used the subtotal tool before, like I say, it's like a mini pivot table. It allows us to aggregate our data, and it's quick, it's efficient, it works very well. Okay, next question. Which tool will let you restrict how many characters you can enter into a cell? So in this cell here, if I try and put, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it tells me, no, I can only enter 5. If I try and do 1, 2, 3, 4, no, please enter 5 only. Which tool will let me do that? However, if I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's quite happy with that. And this is one that we use quite a lot, actually. Data validation. Yes, correct, David. Thank you very much. Column is not conditional formatting. No, conditional formatting would generally change my formatting, but data validation is correct, 100%. Excellent. Next question. What are these things called? I've I've marked them out in red here. What are these things called? In this case, yes, Cara, spark lines, absolutely, 100%. These are spark lines. They're like mini charts in a cell. They can show us the trends of data, movement of data, etc. Useful way to look at numerous rows of data. Great, perfect. And next question. What is a tool called that will let you record automated actions? I think a few of you might know this. What's a tool called that will let you record automated actions? Macro, yes, it is the macro recorder. 100%. Excellent. And then the final question. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of help with this one. So for the final question, I will have the answer as well. Where can you find out more about the training that we deliver? If you just contact Matt McMahon, matt@mtc-training.co.uk, he can tell you more about that. So thank you very much, everybody. That was just a quick little quiz, just to get you going for Ian. Ian is going to be talking to you about Power BI and what you can do with your data coming from Excel. So I'd like to put it over to Ian. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for that, Dion. That was brilliant. The first time I ever saw Excel was Excel version 3 back in the early 90s, for those people who can remember punk rock as well, but showing my age there. Anyway, I'm going to cover what is known as Power BI. And the great thing about Excel is the fact that you can add visualizations, dashboards, and so on. But as most Excel analysts will tell you, it's a bit of a workload on them, and they'd much rather have a tool that does this quite quickly. So I'm going to share my screen and just talk about Power BI. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see that. Okay, right. Now, Power BI is a tool that you can use to create data visualize, or on the face of it, looks like a tool that you can use to create data visualizations, but it's really there for data modeling the data to your business needs. Okay, there's a number of flavors of Power BI. There's Power BI Desktop, Power BI Service, and Power BI Mobile. And mobile is basically the application that enables you to see alerts and visualizations from your data model and so on. Okay, so I'm going to talk about desktop, a little bit about the service, and I'm going to show you a lot of demonstrations about how we can take data from Excel and SQL and so on and make something meaningful from it. Now, Power BI Desktop is a tool you can use to kind of interrogate your data. You know, data analysts, you can look at your data and you can see patterns, but the people who you're wanting to present data to may not see those patterns. So you can basically do this with Power BI. You can find out information about the data using Power BI. It's a free download, believe it or not, to Windows platforms. You can use it to create data models. Data models really is a way of bringing data together from a number of different sources. So for instance, you know, you might have data in a database, you might have data in Excel, you might have data on CSV files. You might want to bring them all together and work together so as to form some kind of analysis to your business, okay? And of course, your organization. You can connect to a large variety of sources. You can create visualizations to interrogate data, and then can publish the reports to the Power BI service. Now, the Power BI service is a subscription-based service. Okay, so you can get a free subscription to Power BI, or you can receive a Power BI subscription, usually through your organization. Okay, if your organization has got Microsoft 365 license, you'll be able to get Power BI service. Okay, reports that you create in the desktop, you can then publish to Power BI service to make available for your colleagues and co-workers and so on. Okay, so I'm going to fire up Power BI desktop. Okay. Now, the technology that Power BI desktop is based upon is technology that first started off in Excel. Okay, and they decided after, using it on Excel for a while, that was Power Pivot, Power Query, and Power View, they would be better off just packaged into one application. Now, I'm going to get data from an Excel spreadsheet, and I'll just quickly show you that Excel spreadsheet. Okay. So, sorry. Now, this Excel spreadsheet is just a basic spreadsheet with a number of different tables on it. It's got a product category table on it, product subcategory, products, and sales. Okay, the information here has been defined into a table as well. If I go to table design, you'll see this one here is called sale. Okay, product category is called category, and so on. Just click there. There we go. It's called category. So these are distinct tables. I'm just going to close this because it would be nice to actually get that information and basically do something to it. So I'm just going to get that data. And when it's ready, there we go. Okay. Now you can see from Power BI's perspective, I can get data from a whole load of different places. Okay, I've got Excel workbook here. I'm just going to connect that Excel workbook. Okay, and it just happens to be down here. There we go. And what that does, that connects to the Excel workbook and it shows me what sheets I've got in that Excel workbook. But the clever thing here is that it also shows me the tables as well. Okay. It's taking a little bit longer here with the connection, I think. Now you can see we've got the spreadsheets here. Okay. And we've got the tables that were defined. Power BI is clever enough to recognize tables that you've defined in Excel. Okay. So I can view them and think, oh, right, I wouldn't mind getting that information like so. All right. And bring it in. It's got a number of different options here. You've got load, transform data, and cancel, of course. Load will enable me to load the data into this Power BI file. Okay, right. Now, if I was connecting to a database, right, and connecting to tables in a database, Power BI is smart enough to know that some of these database tables can be absolutely huge, okay, much bigger than anything in Excel. So it gives the opportunity of just having a direct query to the data as opposed to just importing all the data. But with Excel, it just imports the data. The transform data is useful because you might recognize something here that you might want to alter for your business requirements. It could be a data type, it could be filtering and so on that you might want to apply. Okay, I'm just going to choose load because I can always transform the data at a later stage. I don't need to transform it at that point. Now what this does, this brings the data into Power BI, okay? And it's quite quick because it's quite a small amount of data. Okay, and on the right-hand side, I'll just expand fields here. A bit of a lag here with the session, but believe me, when I've tested this early, it's been much quicker. Okay. All right, sorry about this. Let me just close down a few things. Cancel that. Sorry about this. It's normally much quicker than this. It's close that. I'll fire it up again. Okay, so let's get that data again. Okay, I'm not sure about why it's taking so long here. Sorry about this. Just check here. Right, okay, so I've got an Excel workbook. Let's try again. Okay. Okay, so we'll do this again. I'll give it a couple of seconds before I choose load because it's just evaluating. Okay. Let's choose load. Believe me, I did open this early and it was much faster. I'm not sure whether it's the connection that's causing this problem or what. Okay, what I shall do. Here we go. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open one that I created earlier. Okay, try this one. I'll give it a couple more seconds and see how it comes up. But here we go. Right. Not sure exactly why this is in here. Right, now I was able to, you know, from this information, I was able to create these visualizations. Okay, if I just go to a completely new page, all right, I was able just to, you know, click on sales and, you know, click on a field here for total due and so on, etc. So the great thing on the right-hand side, when everything's brought in, it brings in the tables, it brings in the fields, okay? It tells you what kind of data is in the fields as well, okay? And got these little signs next to the data and so on, okay? So if I click on, let's see, total due, it will automatically create a visualization. The visualizations are here in the center pane here. You know, so you've got visualizations as a cluster column chart, and you can see, as Dion said, it's a column chart. Okay, you've got more specific visualizations as you come further down. Okay, but the ones up here generally categorical visualizations and so on. But these are different visualizations for different business needs. Okay, but I might want to sort of like carry out sales and display it by product and so on. So if I expand product, I can click on name, okay? And that basically puts a filters the sales by product. And the reason it does that is because when we brought that data in, right, Power BI was clever enough to create what are known as relationships or links between the data. It's seen the different tables and it's recognized the fact that we have, right, got a name here, a product name here, okay? It's recognized that this is unique, this is unique information, duplicate information. So for each product, there are many sales. For each subcategory, there are many products, okay? Now, just to let you know that when I first brought this in, this relationship wasn't established. Power BI isn't always clever enough to establish relationships if the data type is different, but you can override them just by dragging from one to the other and say there should be a relationship here. So we've got, for each subcategory, you have many products. What we've created here is a data model. We can treat those different sources as one big model that we can then establish analysis from, okay? So that means if I go back to my visualization here, all right, I can create other visualizations and so on based on other things like subcategory and so on. Here's the clever thing. If I just copy that, paste that, what I can do is I can then make a table out of that. Okay, table out of the same information, like so. Okay, and I can move this down and so on. But what you'll probably find is that when you're moving data around, it can take a while thinking about what backgrounds are we going to have and so on. And if you are given a number of backgrounds, you can use pre-configured themes, or you can customize your own current theme with your own backgrounds and so on. Okay. Now I'm going to close all this. All right. I'm going to close this particular one. Okay. I'm going to save that. Close this one as well because I've got a feeling that this would be better off closed itself. All right, I'm going to fire it open again. All right. Show you another one that I've created earlier. I'm going to open up this this one that I created earlier. It's a much more involved Power BI report. Okay, and this Power BI report has multiple pages, just like the previous one had, but I've also added additional fields to this particular report. Okay. Now, I apologize for my taste in colors and fonts and so on, okay, but I basically deal with data as opposed to dealing with presentation, but there you go. Now, I've added a number of different tables to this particular report. Quite lucky, because I also had another table that had marketing information, target email, and so on, okay. I also had a table that I created called a date table as well, okay. And that enables me to filter by things like year, month, and so on, okay. But being able to create this report that contains a number of different visualizations, okay. You notice we've got calendar year, category, territory, slicers. If I choose 2012, right, you'll see. Oh, sorry, multiple selections. It's all over the place just now. It's got profits for all years, but if I choose 2012 there, it should just say profits for 2012. Oh. There we go. It should just say profits for 2012 there. Let's just choose select all. Great. We've got analysis charts here. We've got top 10 subcategories by sales, category by sales matrix, territory by sales table, and salesperson by sales table. Effectively, what we're able to do is just take these tables and try and make sense of them, because quite often you want to see the top 10 subcategories. You want to view what salespeople are doing and so on. We can, if I right click on, let's say, Linda Mitchell, right? You notice I've got a drill through, and I can drill through to the salesperson details. And that enables me to see the salesperson details for Linda's. Okay, and I've got profits. This is top 10 subcategories by sales, profit by territory, year, and so on. Okay. All right. If I go back to my calling page, okay, you can go back to the main page now. Effectively, you're creating a story, right? Usually on the first page, you tend to start off with the main information. You know, what's the total cost, profit, sales, etc. Kind of like descriptive information, and then after that, you go into the more you go into more detail. Okay, and it's quite easy to create all this. You know, basically, you just bring your data in and create visualizations. Of course, you spend a fair bit of time making it look nice and so on. Okay, if you've also got analysis here. You'll notice I got an increase between 2012 and 2013. If I right-click on 2012 there and choose Analyze, I've got to explain the increase. All right, because quite often when you're doing a presentation, you want to come across as someone who knows the data and knows why you've gotten these increases. Okay, and it'll rank the results, and it will display the data and why it's increased in sales and so on. Now, basically, all it will do will show a number of different waterfall charts, and these are charts that are displayed over time. Okay, so it's got, let's scroll down a little bit here. Calendar year and subcategory. It says touring bikes accounted for the majority of increase amongst subcategory and so on. Okay. Now, the great thing here is that I can save all of this. Okay. I just click away from that. Okay. And if I go to my analysis charts up here, so if I click on this button here, it takes me to this page, the analysis, and all of those charts are basically displayed. This is 2013, 2014, shows a loss. Okay. If I go to 2012, 2013, shows a profit and so on. Okay, and you can analyze each of these, and you can zoom in. Okay. So it's all about investigating the data, finding out things about the data that weren't that obvious to begin with. I can go back to my main page if I want. Okay. And I can look at some of the other visualizations. I'm going to show you a couple more visualizations here. If I click on the analysis page, sorry, not the analysis page, the key influencers one. Okay. Now the key influencers visualizations, when they're displayed, came from this table here, the V-target mail. Okay. And I use that to display information about top segments and key influencers. So just click on top segments there. All right. And this tells us, all right, right, there's a 74.6% chance of me buying a bike if I fell into these categories. Okay, right. And the key influencers to be for a bike buyer to be true, the likelihood of bike buyer being true increases by this amount for each of these individual variables, you could call them. Okay, so this is very good from a marketing perspective. It all depends on the amount of data that you've got, though. Okay. If I go back to the main page here, okay. Right. I can then right click on the subcategories and drill through the subcategory details, and that'll give me information on the subcategories themselves. Okay. All right. From there, I can then right click on, see it's slowing up a little bit now. So I'll shut this down shortly. The great thing about this is the variety of visualizations you have to actually tell a story as well. Okay, you've got total sales by territory, all right, and that's in a tree map. Okay, all right. If I right click on Michael Blythe, choose drill through now to the salesperson details, it takes this filter through to the salesperson details. All right, so I'm filtered by subcategory as well as Michael Blythe. It's put that top 10 in there, but that was original. That was originally there, but there we go. Okay, and I can just, if I wanted to just remove those filters, if I wanted to see it without the filters and just show it Michael Blythe's complete sales and so on. And you've got a decomposition tree here, which is very useful because you can really flip between each of the sections, a little bit like interrogating a matrix, really, except you're doing it graphically. Right. Now, what I'm going to quickly do here, right, is hopefully it'll quickly occur, but I've got a feeling that it won't. In fact, what I'll show one that I created earlier, because I just close this. I'll not bother saving. All right. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up a Power BI service, and I'm going to show you the Power BI service with a report already in it. Okay. In fact, if I just Power BI service. Now, this Power BI service, I said it's a subscription-based service. And it'll take me in automatically because it knows my detail. Oh, mind you, I was in a different account before. So. Okay. And the Power BI service is something that you can publish your data up. So within the Power BI desktop, there was a publish button. I wasn't going to click on that because it would have taken quite a while. Okay, it would have taken quite a while. But it did have a publish button. and I could publish that up to my Power BI service that contains a set of folders called workspaces. And in each of these workspaces, I have some reports and so on. So I could publish up a report up to a workspace. In that workspace, all right, I can have published reports, and I can create dashboards. Okay, so there's quite simplistic ones up here. Certainly, I go to demo dash and so on. You can see I've got a dashboard up here. All right, and that dashboard is available to you and your workmates. Okay, so your colleagues in the organization can gain access. So you can't, but usually, unless you have proper permissions, you won't be able to share this out to people outside your organization. Okay, so it's perfectly safe within your organization, but you can create those dashboards which you can share out to other people in your organization if you so wish, and you can also copy and paste into other visuals and so on. Okay, so this Power BI service is what you can pay for, but the Power BI desktop is completely free, but you need a subscription for the Power BI service. As I said, you can get free subscriptions, but the subscription will be provided by your organization. Okay, so there we go. To rush that last part, I'm sorry about the machine taking so long. It was working perfectly beforehand, but these dashboards, you can create applications out of these dashboards and so on. I just minimize that. So your Power BI service, a subscription, range of free paid for subscriptions. You can publish the reports from the desktop to the service, create the dashboards, the data, share to your colleagues, and then create apps for your organization. Okay, all right. So there we go. If I had longer, I would actually show you a little bit more, but hopefully you've gotten an idea of what Power BI can represent, certainly, and what it can provide, and so on. Okay, but together with Power BI service, it provides quite a nice, easy means of making sense of your data. Okay, the Power BI courses that we run here are the 4-day analyzing data with Power BI or the 1-day Power BI intro. Okay, all right, that's about it. If anyone's got any questions, fire away. I think we've got about 5 minutes or 3 minutes for the questions, but you're welcome to ask away.
Yeah, and there are a couple of questions in the Q&A section. So Cara asked, how can you share Power BI dashboards with non-license holders? Is the only way to have a premium service capacity?
Sorry, I'm looking at me chat there. Oh, the Q&A, sorry. Yeah. Okay. All right. Right, with they have to be Power BI Pro, that have to be license holders, either through your organization or even individually. You can hold a license individually, but it's difficult to, you won't necessarily be able to share dashboards from your organization to private individuals, even if they've got licenses, unless their name is actually allowed by your organization. So you can certainly share with other people in your organization as long as they've got licenses. Okay. The premium service capacity provides you with a number of with a number of other features, certainly, but certainly not with the pro service capacity.
Okay, I'm not sure if you're seeing the question there, but someone also asked, based on the garbage in, garbage out, how reliable is the thinking that Power BI does for you? So how much of a risk is it that it'll make up linkages and insights that just aren't there? Or is it a case of just making sure your data is in order, classified, and
I can see that. You're right. The more work you do before you bring data into Power BI, the better, certainly. Okay, and you do really need to. What I was going to show you when it was, after it had loaded up, if you'd had the time, I was going to show you how to go and check on on this as well, because you would need to go into the model view and really verify that that things that things are can connect properly and so on. So yes, you do need to know your data. I mean, what Power BI will do in terms of deciding on what tables are related to what, it will look at the data types and try and find some commonality between the tables. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to accept that or not. Okay, so so the more you know your data and the more you prepare your data, the better from that perspective. Anything else? Okay, well, in that sense, I'll just call a halt to Power BI to Power BI demonstration. You can see there's an awful lot more to Power BI than what you can fit into half an hour, but it does help if the system is working faster. But despite that, I think you still got a flavour of how it can actually work.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ian. Thanks for doing that. And thanks to Dion for the Excel quiz earlier. And thank you to everyone who's watched. As both Ian and Dion have said, we have courses that are available for businesses across the Northeast through ESF funding, but there are also courses, you can access them from anywhere. So we're able to deliver online and in person from our centre on the edge of Sunderland, and we hope you've enjoyed this. I think the one-day intro, I described this course as an intro to an intro, and I think that's really what it was. This session has just given you a taster of some of the things that you can do on Power BI. But we offer the 1 day and the 4 day analyzing data, or Microsoft's data analyst course, which is, as I say, hugely popular, but not as popular as Excel. The Excel courses that we run get booked up every time. I struggle to find dates towards the end of the year now for these courses, and Dion is master of this area. So we're really, really grateful for you to joining in this session and for talking to us and interacting with us. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of Dynamo 2022.